Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
What is Ascension? We're going to start with that first question. And I'm going to ask my husband to explain what it is. Honey?
I can only explain my understanding of Ascension based on the teachings. I don't know what
that will be excellent.
Okay. Yeah, you said you're going to ask me what it is. It's just my understanding of it from the teaching standpoint.
Well, it's a common question that's asked. What is Ascension? How do I gain Ascension? So we're starting with what is Ascension. So if you would please share with us from the teaching standpoint what Ascension is, I would appreciate it.
Okay. From the teaching standpoint, what I've learned from El Moria, Saint Germain, Ascension is our ultimate goal. Okay, we were created up in the heavens, call it that, just so we can have a point of reference, right?
Okay.
So let's pretend that wherever all the souls were created was a place called heaven.
Okay.
Call it whatever you may, right? But let's just have a point of reference. We say we're all created, all souls are created at the same time, by the way, okay? They weren't created one today, one tomorrow, all at the same time. That's what the teachings teach us, or the Ascended Masters teach us. Okay? Once that happened, we decided, because we had free will, to make certain decisions that weren't too great, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, every time we did that, we created something called karma, meaning we have to learn from these things. So then we have to come back and say, all right, let me go ahead and correct these decisions that I made or these actions that I took because I learned from them. And that's where the whole idea of re-embodiment came about. Now, if you notice, I said re-embodiment, not reincarnation. Okay? A human being, because it's a soul, does not reincarnate. Okay? The Ascended Masters teach us that. I'm just going based on what I've learned from the Ascended Masters.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't reincarnate. We can never come back as an animal or a tree. We can only come back as a soul, as a human being. That's it. So that's the first thing. Now, once our soul was created by our Creator, in my case, I say God. Mm-hmm. Somebody might want to say something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once the soul is created, we had our certain separation from our Creator because of the decisions we made. Now we journey back. See, it's time to go back to where we came from. Like go home.
Mm-hmm.
So we left home. Now we want to go back home. That's our ultimate goal in every re-embodiment. It's to go back home. Whatever you call that. To rejoin our Creator.
Okay.
We have to do certain things to make that happen, which is we have to get rid, well, not get rid because it's all energy. So I'd say we have to transmute that negative energy that we've created because of the decisions that we made or actions that we took that were not too very nice to other people, right, in the results. We have to transmute those energies into positive energies, things that are made of light instead of darkness. When that happens, we're balancing karma. Once we balance enough karma, and the number, so I won't give a number because a number is, people debate the number, but once you balance enough karma, then you ascend. You go back to join our Creator. That's what Ascension is. You balance the karma, you balance enough that you don't have to keep re-embodying to learn your lesson. All right, you've learned enough lessons, so now you're allowed to stay home, which is where we came from, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Can you ascend more than once?
No. Ascension takes place once only.
Okay. Are there symptoms associated with ascension? Like, Will I have headaches, stomach aches, disorientation, maybe confusion, depression?
How would that, think about it this way. You're ascending, right?
Uh-huh.
Why are you ascending again?
Because I have learned my lessons and balanced enough karma.
Okay. What causes illness or sickness or any imbalance?
Usually it's an imbalance in the spiritual side of us, which is it's normally it deals with karma.
So negative energies, right?
Right, negative energies.
Frequencies.
Mm-hmm. Lower frequencies.
So follow me here. So that's what causes imbalances. That's what causes someone to feel ill.
Right.
That's what causes someone to be upset, or attachments or possessions. So it causes someone to be mean, right? Started screaming at other people.
Uh-huh.
So when you're balancing karma, your frequency is rising so that your frequency is higher than these things that cause these discomforts, illnesses, pains, right?
Right.
So as you balance more karma, more negative things fall off, right? They've been transmuted into positive things.
Right.
What are the chances that you'll feel discomfort or pain?
Well, if my frequency and vibration are rising, then I shouldn't be feeling discomfort or pain.
That's correct. So when the closer you get to ascension, the less discomfort or pain that you have. So if you're asking about symptoms, the symptom would be that you never get sick, you never get angry, you don't get worried about anything at all because you have let go of all worldly things. Right? Nobody's actions or behavior can affect you in a negative way. You don't judge anybody because you understand that they have their free will and they have the right to make their own decision. So if you want to judge how close you are or monitor how close you are to ascension, I guess that's the best way to look at it. Now, here's what's interesting. There are some individuals like Padre Pio in his last embodiment. Was he sick? I don't know. He had those
the stigmata.
Right. So that's not an illness, right?
Right.
But I don't know if it affected his health. I don't know much about Padre Pio. I don't study people. I didn't follow his story. But he did have that, what is it called?
Stigmata.
The stigmata. But he was known to levitate.
Right.
He was known to live off just one communion a day or something. I don't know how often did he eat the communion.
Just once a day.
Once a day. So, and then he was fine. So those are things that you can look at and say, oh, and then he didn't judge anybody. He could heal people. Well, let's not say he could heal people. However, people around him got healed, right? Because his vibration was that high. So if you want to consider those symptoms or signs that, okay, it's not even a sign that you're going to ascend. It's just signs that your vibration is higher, your frequency is higher.
Okay.
Which is good. It's a good thing. But you won't be sad. You'll be happy. So you won't be depressed. You won't feel any pain because your vibration is too high for anything negative to attach to you.
Okay.
It's impossible for you to get angry or upset because, again, that vibration is too low. Your vibration is way too high. So you don't get affected by that. Now, again, this is based on what I've learned from the Ascended Masters.
Okay. So based on what you just said, then there shouldn't be ringing in the ears constantly or feeling a lot of pressure on the body or in the head.
Well, you tell me.
I would say no. Will there be DNA changes and downloads?
What are you talking about? What DNA download?
Well, from what I've read online and out there in social media, part of the ascension process is that you receive DNA downloads and upgrades and things in order for your body to be able to ascend. When
you ascend, you're losing your physical body. So why would you even require DNA?
I don't know.
I'm just posing it to you.
Okay.
You get the point?
I get the point.
You don't need your physical body anymore. Ascension means that your physical body is dead. You're getting rid of the physical body, which limits you. The physical body limits you, right?
Right.
Now, even in a physical body, we can go between dimensions, right? Like I could be here, but I could be in the fourth dimension or fifth dimension, but that's not ascension. You're just moving between dimensions, all right? Which is a normal thing. That should be something you should be able to do all the time. There's nothing, no big deal about that. Ascension is when you lose the physical cloak. This costume is gone, and it's only your soul that travels back to the home where you came from. So you don't need DNA. Your soul is not made up of DNA. It's made up of energy. It's higher frequency. That's why we focus on just getting our frequency raised. We don't focus on correcting DNA or repairing DNA because that's not important where we go once we ascend. Imagine Jesus ascending and saying, "Oh, do you guys remember to correct my DNA?" There is no DNA involved at all. You are made up of energy, light. Everything else is being lost. All the physical stuff is lost. That's transmuted. DNA is part of your physical body. Now, unless if you're Prophet Muhammad, who ascended whole body, right? But that was just for people to see that he ascended whole body, right? Prophet Elijah, he ascended whole body in the chariot of fire. But that he didn't need neither one needed a DNA to be downloaded or anything. They just did that to show their followers that ascension is possible for a human being. That's it.
Okay.
There's not a single ascended master. That means someone that's ascended, meaning that they've gotten rid of the physical body.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single ascended master that I'm aware of, even the ones that ascended whole body, that are walking around wherever they are, what I consider heaven, in a whole body, because the physical body is useless. It won't even survive. I mean, it won't even exist where they are because it will just limit what they need to do.
Okay. Now, you touched on something else, because
What's that?
also what I've read with Ascension is going from this physical realm, which they call 3D, and moving up to, say, a level of 5D, where we're in the spiritual, more on the spiritual side, but our bodies go with us, if I understood it correctly.
Your body doesn't travel with you to
It doesn't
4D or
ascend
5D.
from one dimension to another?
That is not ascension.
Oh.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say, for example, you are in the kitchen of the house, right?
Yes.
And then you want to go to use the bathroom upstairs, one of the bathrooms upstairs, either a girl's bathroom or the boys' bathroom upstairs, right?
Okay.
What would you do? Are you going to ascend to get up there?
Now that would be a neat trick. No, I'll walk up the stairs.
Okay. But you just went a different level. You went from the first level to the second level of the house. What's the big deal with that? Is there a big deal with that?
No.
No. All you did was you went from the first level to the second level.
So it's basically just changing my perspective and
Right.
awareness?
When you go from, you've seen me when we're driving and you'll say, "Oh, will you just check and see if this is at this store?"
Yes.
Or we might be out and they say, "Hey, hon, I'm thinking about buying this, but I don't know if we have any at home." And you've even started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll say, "Okay," and then you'll say, "Let me check and see if we have that at home."
Mm-hmm.
Did your body follow you to the house?
No.
Right? Now you can say, "But then you're still in 3D. No, you're not. Because if you're in 3D, how can you be in one place and be at the house at the same time?
Well, part of me is in 3D, isn't it? Because it's physical?
Right. But is the part of you that's at the house now looking to see if whatever item you want to buy, you're checking an item, see if it's at the house, is that part of you in 3D?
No.
Where is it?
In
At
the
least
ether
fourth dimension,
somewhere.
right?
Right?
At least fourth dimension. Did you ascend?
No.
No. All you did was you moved from the kitchen to the bathroom. You went from one room to the next. Going between dimensions is a normal thing. There is no big deal with that. You don't need anything special for that. All you have to do is learn to get there. Yeah? And that's what we train everybody on, right? You've received that training. So now you know what to do, how to alter certain things so that you can travel somewhere, but your body is still here. Or it's still in one place, but all of a sudden you can tell what's going on somewhere else. There's no trick in that. And yes, you're in a different dimension, because for you to be able to do that, you have to go to a different dimension to do that.
Okay.
But it's like opening a door and just going through the door.
Okay.
Ascension only happens once. You only ascend once. And that is when you balance enough karma, and then you lose that physical limit, which is the physical body, that costume, and now your soul goes back to its original place, its home, where it came from. That's what ascension is.
Okay. So now during this process of you balancing your karma to be able to ascend, do you have to go through like the dark night of the soul, which has been described as this really deep, dark place where you're in torment and pain and have other challenges?
Well, I guess Jesus got crucified. Is that dark night of the soul before he ascended?
I think people believe the dark night of the soul for him was when he spent the 40 days in the desert, from what I've read.
So what was John the Baptist, when he spent the time in the desert as well?
Dark night of the soul?
And what was Prophet Muhammad?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with Muhammad's story.
So you get the point?
So
I don't know of anything called dark night of the soul, is the point. All I know is this, that we all have karma to balance. And for some of us, we have more karma to balance than others. And it's all based on our previous lifetimes and the decisions that we made. Now, someone that maybe has a lot of karma to balance and they're going through what they consider a really rough time, maybe that's what they're calling a dark night of the soul. But the Ascended Masters teach us that every experience that we have should be one of a learning experience. So how could it be painful if you look at it from the standpoint of, what's my lesson here? I'm supposed to learn from this so that I don't repeat it. So if you approach from the standpoint of, okay, I have to make sure I really get the lesson from this, you'll start looking at it and wondering, okay, what's my lesson? You're looking at it from a student standpoint, not you being punished or not you suffering, because you know that you did something for that to happen. So the question now is, what is it that you did? Well, that's where our life review sessions come in, right? So we take individuals through life review sessions. They understand now why they're having these experiences in this current life. And then they're also given by their spirit guides or whomever it is that is helping them solutions, right? So that they know how to correct the situation, whatever it is they're dealing with. So to me, if somebody feels like they're going through a tough time, it's because they don't know that they have the tools and that the team is there that can help them to get them out of there as quickly as possible.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered your question.
That answers a question for me.
Okay.
Another question. In order to ascend, does one have to balance all of their masculine and feminine energies?
What is a masculine or feminine energy? I don't know what that is.
I'm still confused, but they say that the feminine does one thing, the masculine does another, and they have to come into balance. And
if El Moria or Saint Germain tell me anything about that, I'll let you know. But I've never heard of, as you know, I don't go reading things anywhere. I don't look up things on YouTube or anything like that, or on the internet. I've never heard of negative and feminine energies. All I know is that when every soul was created, there were two flames that were created, right, for the same soul. A feminine ray and a masculine ray. That's all I know. And that's why there's the term twin ray. Now that's a feminine and masculine. I don't know if that's what they're referring to, but that's not for the same person. Those are two different individuals, right? But they come from the same source, from the same flame. And what they do is they live their lives so that one day they will reconnect, they will reunite to be that one flame. And that's why people walk around or live their lives and they say things like, I'm waiting for my twin flame.
Mm.
All right? Because everyone, like you and I, we're twin flames, right?
Right.
We've been told that.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has a twin flame. All right? Now, people get the impression that, well, life will be great once you meet your twin flame. I think we're great examples because you claim that I didn't like you. See, that wasn't true, but that's what you claimed, right? But it's not like we met each other and we're like, oh, there goes my twin flame.
No.
That's not how it went.
Nope.
So that's the only feminine flame, not energy, flame, and male or masculine flame that I know of.
Okay.
Right? That's all I know about. So as far as your question, I don't know how to answer that. And I was waiting to get something from the Ascended Masters, any one of them, but they haven't responded, which then tells me that that's not something that I need to be concerned about.
Okay. So, to recap, ascension happens only once.
From the teaching standpoint,
From the
from
teaching
what I've been
standpoint.
taught by the Ascended Masters, ascension takes place only once. Now, someone might ask, but then, like Saint Germain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saint Germain walked this earth for hundreds of years, and they said that he never aged. He always looked like he was in his 30s.
Uh-huh.
There are even stories and documentation of individuals that met him when they were in their 30s and met him again when they were in their 90s. And of course, they're much older, right? They're
Right.
using walking cane. And he looked like he was in his 30s. And they know it's him.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that possible? Well, because even after an Ascended Master ascends, they can choose to walk the earth. But as an Ascended Master, you can see them as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like they re-embodied.
Mm.
Right? They didn't re-embody. They're already ascended.
So,
They just chose to come back and walk the earth as an Ascended Master, and that's why they don't age. They don't really eat. They don't need any of that.
but we see what their physical form was like.
That's correct. It's one of those holographic effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just so because they're a soul, but if you just see a white light shining, you might scare yourself. So they appear to you as a human being.
Okay.
That doesn't mean though that they're going to die again so they can ascend again, because they're alive. All right? They're just placing a picture for you to see so you can communicate with them.
Okay. So now, ascension happens once, and in the ascension process, you are shedding this karma, which means that anything associated with that karma, disease, illness, any kind of ailments of anything, those all, because your vibration and frequency are being elevated, those should naturally just fall away or balance
That's correct.
out.
That's correct.
So it's not a painful process.
Well, there's no way it should be, because as your frequency rises, remember, the only reason why you have aches and pains is because your frequency is low.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why. As your frequency rises, you don't have aches or pains. We were just talking about that earlier, right before we recorded this video, when I was saying, I don't understand how people can say they're tired, or what else did I say? I said something else, right?
You just were referring to being tired.
Right.
Right.
I
At
don't,
that time.
because that's just a foreign thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean I'm close to ascension, but I just don't get tired. I mean, have you ever seen me take a nap?
No.
Right? And that's because the vibration is higher than normal.
Right.
Okay? If you ever see me take a nap, it's because the vibration is low. So then we ask the question, why is the vibration low?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So just to answer that question, to, I guess,
Address
hit on that point,
Mhm.
There's no way that somebody is close to ascension if they're in pain. It's impossible. You can only be close to ascension if you don't have any pain, you don't have any discomfort, you're never hungry, actually. All the things that affect someone on the physical level no longer affect you.
Okay.
They just don't. You don't have to eat. You just want to pretend that you're human, so then you eat something. But then you know that you don't require it anymore. You know, so again, if you want to monitor how close you are to ascension, those are the things you monitor. Do you judge people? Right? Because if you're close to ascension, if your vibration is high enough, you will not be judging people. You will not judge situations because you're beyond that. Right? Illnesses, no, they won't affect you. It's impossible for them to affect you because your vibration is too high, your frequency is too high. So negative energies, negative frequencies, negative entities, it's impossible for, and I keep using the word impossible because it really is impossible for these things to attach to you. Frequency is way too high. So there is no depression. There is no pain. None of that.
Okay. And just to make sure I have this understood as well, ascension doesn't mean that you're going from just the physical dimension and then moving to another dimension and being able to come back again, because ascension only happens once.
Ascension only happens once.
So when
True ascension only happens once.
So moving between dimensions is a normal thing until you've ascended?
Should be.
Okay.
I mean, you've experienced it yourself.
Yes.
You should stop being humble. You've experienced it yourself, right? You've gone from the third dimension to the fourth dimension, and then experience things there, and then come back. You do it on a daily basis. Last time I checked, you haven't ascended.
Nope.
Exactly.
Have not.
Right? And that's not going to happen until you balance all your karma. I mean, every day we go between dimensions. We won't talk about, I don't even know how many dimensions there are. And I don't know how many dimensions we go through. All we know is that we go through different dimensions to accomplish certain things. You know, and that's it. But that is not considered by the Ascended Masters ascension at all. Not at all. Until you lose the physical body and the soul returns to its original source, you haven't ascended.
All right. Thank you very much. You've answered all the questions that I have that have come up. But if any of you watching this or listening to this have questions or concerns, please feel free to contact us and we'll make sure to address them. Remember to subscribe and like this YouTube video or Spotify podcast. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others who are on a similar journey. Get help by visiting our website, 190vision.com, then click on the Help Me tab. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the Donate button, which is located at the bottom of each page of our website.